Hi angels and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you my 23 favorite reads of the year 2023. I have a bunch of different stacks here, so I'm just going to go random. And I have chosen from my physical TBR because I feel like if I would have picked from my Kindle too, this video would not exist because I'm indecisive. So it's only going to be out of my physical books. First, we have Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This book was so good. I loved it and I ate this shit up. It's the billionaire trope and I love rich men, so yeah. It's about Christian and Stella. Stella and her best friend goes out apartment hunting. They need to find a new place within their budget. So they end up at this apartment complex. But it's too expensive, but it's the most beautiful place they've ever seen. So Christian comes into the picture and was like, I can lower the rent for you guys. And they felt like, oh, this random ass dude wants to lower our rent, what does he want? And he was like, no, I just want to live close to Stella. And I love that. I love an possessive and obsessive man. Then we have The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This book was something else. It's about Ryan and Indy. Indy got cheated on in the beginning of the book. So her best friend is like, why don't you just move in with my brother? What could go wrong? Well, let me tell you what could go wrong. He's a famous basketball player who plays in the NBA. Like, a lot of things could go wrong. But it didn't, so she moves in with this rich man. Again, love rich man. And they go so well together. Like, Ryan's not a people person. And I understand that. Like, same. I would rather lay in my bed all weekend and read books, but sometimes, Ryan, you need to go out and see people and actually like doing that. And I felt like Indy really helped him with that, so love this book. 5 stars! Then we have Reckless by Elsa Silver. It's a bull rider romance. Do I need to tell you anything more? I feel like there's not enough of them, but maybe I just haven't looked hard enough. It's about Theo and Winter. It's reverse Grumpy Sunshine. So good. He's like the golden boy. The golden puppy. They have a one-night stand. And she ends up being pregnant. And the story goes on from there. And I don't want to tell you anymore because it's a huge spoiler. So, one scene in this book. Winter goes, Eden, get your dog off of me. And he responds with, woof. A man who's secure of himself. Love it. Then we have Blissful Hook by Hannah Cohen. This book was immaculate. Like, I ate it up. It's kind of thin. So it really was a cute, fluffy, fast read, you know? It's about Tyler and Gracie. Gracie's Tyler's best friend's sister. The drama. One of the things I love most in books, it's the drama. I love when stuff's going on. I hate the other woman drama. And the third act breakup. That can go somewhere there. Far away from me. Love this book. Then we have Her Greatest Mistake by Hannah Cohen. This is one of my all-time favorite reads of this year. It's in my top 3. It was so good. It's about Braxton and Maddox. It's a second gen, by the way. They grew up with each other, were best friends and everything, and then Braxton betrays him. The drama again. It's 8 years later. And her dad is trying to sabotage his hockey career, so his team is like, you should just fake date Braxton. I feel like that would help because that would show that she's on your side. And he was like, that's kind of awkward, but fine. And she was like, yeah, I want you to forgive me, so I'll do it. Then I won't have any guilt anymore. And then they proceed to fake date and everything. And the trope in this book, it's always been you. I love a man who's sure of himself. Like, it's been 8 years. And he's like, no, I don't want anyone else. I know that I will end up with you. I don't know how, when, or why, but I will. And I love Maddox. He's one of my all-time favorite book boyfriends. Then we have Deviant King. Again, one of my all-time favorite dark romances by Rena Kent. This is about Elsa, who changes school to a school where only rich people goes, and on her first day there, she encounters Aiden. What does he do? He throws her against the wall and basically tells her, I'm going to make your life miserable. I'm intrigued. I saw that quote on TikTok, and I often do that. I see a quote or a scene on TikTok, and I'm like, I need to read that book, and then it's terrible. But this book wasn't. It was so good. This couple has 3 books. Then we have another Rina Kent book, Black Knight. It's the 4th book in the series. This is my favorite, I think. It's about Xander and Kimberly. They were best friends growing up, grew up with each other and everything, and then all of a sudden, he hates her. No one knows why. We don't. She doesn't. Then in the end, you find out why he hates her. And I understand him. Like, I kind of would have done the same thing, to be honest. I love the friends to enemies to lovers. There was drama, and I lived for it. Then we have the most beautifully written book in history, Archer's Voice. This book, I cried. Not gonna lie, I cried. This is about Bree, who moves to a small town she's never been in before. There she meets Archer. Archer doesn't speak to anyone, but she knows sign language, so she helps him discover that, because he doesn't talk to people. He doesn't want to talk to people, so he haven't learned sign language, so she learns him how to communicate with her. And I love how they grow with each other, and how she helps him encounter with humans and teaches him how to do it. Their relationship is adorable. It's not only the romance part, like, I love their friendship. I'm thinking about this book at least once a week, and I read this in like the beginning of January, so. Then we have The Predator. This book, the angst, the drama, the hatred. This was truly an enemies to lovers. Sometimes it's like, oh, the trope is enemies to lovers, and they hate each other for like, I don't know, 3 whole minutes, and then they're in love. Like, huh? No. That's like annoyance to lovers. It's so annoying. I'm kind of why did I get angry? Why did I get angry at that part? Anyways. You know they're enemies when she tries to kill him in the first chapter. But I love the Reaper even more. It's the 2nd book, but I'm only showing you the first because I don't have the energy to take the other one down. Then I loved how they were like mortal enemies from rival mafia gangs. And she tried to kill him. And then, like, whiplash over here, backflip, she lived with him. And I was like, how do you not think about getting killed every fucking minute while you're staying there? Then we have my baby. A Court of Mist and Fury. I don't have words to describe this book. So much stuff was going on. And I was so confused there for a while, but then I wasn't. Like, when I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I was like, oh, I'm in love with Tamlin. I'm sorry. But then I read this book. Oh, I really got whiplash from the turnout events from A Court of Thorns and Roses to A Court of Mist and Fury. But I loved it. I don't want to tell you too much about this book because I know the people are still reading it and have no idea what's going on, and I read this book blindly, and that's the reason I fell in love. So sometimes I just pick this book up and hold it close to my heart, you know? Then we have Queen of Shadows. I read this book 3 days ago. Not even kidding. This book, like, took a piece of me. I don't know what kind of crack there was in this book. It's thick, and I finished this within 1 day. It was so good. I'm not going to tell you anything, but it's enemies to lovers. I'm just going to tell you one thing. I love Rowan. He can do no wrong in my eyes. And you won't be introduced to him until Heir of Fire. So, if you have not read those books, please do. Please read every book by Sarah J Maas because they're immaculate. They're amazing. I don't have words. And I would die for every single one of them. Then we have Fourth Wing. by Rebecca Yarros. It's about Violet, and she's this weak, thin, boring girl. Or you're supposed to think she's boring. She goes to this dragon college. Like, this dragon college is dangerous, especially for her because she's so weak and thin and ugh. You have to bond with the dragon. Near-death experience. You have to ride a dragon. Near-death experience. You have to graduate the college. Near-death experience. Everything in this book is a near-death experience, and you're always up on your toes. Like, you can never sit still, and you can never have a moment to relax while reading this book. And then, just for the point of it, Satan. Now my feet is hurt. Next we have King of Wrath by Anna Kwok. Those are the emotions I feel while I talk about this book. It's an arranged marriage. I don't have words for that trope. I feel like I say that every trope is my favorite. But this is, I love the like, oh, I'm forced to marry you. Not in real life, just in books. I'm forced to marry you. And I'm forced to have your babies. But I will do it because I have no other choice. It feels horrible to say. But it's cute in books. Because they always fall in love. And he's a billionaire. Again, I love my rich man. Like, he hates her family. He doesn't know this, and he wants revenge. He's supposed to marry this girl, but doesn't plan on marrying her, just engaged to her. But then he falls in love. This book right here. If you have not read The Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Wald, do it now. I don't care what you do. Throw anything else away and just read this series because it's so good. So many people are intimidated by this series because it's kind of thick. I promise you, like, when you've read it, you will be like, where is the rest of the pages? Because you want more. Like, it's addictive, and she put some kind of crack in this book because it was so good. Like, all the characters live in my head rent-free. I love them. They're so precious to me. This book is about Joey and Effie struggles with addiction. And she never leaves him. Like, he does some fucked up things all the time. Thing after thing after thing. But she's always there. And she finds some way to help him or forgive him. Because she truly fucking loves him. And I adore her. So, please read this book if you have not done that already. Then we have Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This book was the first book I read this year. And it was amazing. I've seen some mixed reviews on this book. Like, some people hate it and some people love it. I'm in the love it category. Emotions you feel while reading this book. And it definitely gave me whiplash. Like, let me just say that. Around here, something terrible happens. It's the worst trope to ever exist. But some way she made it work. I feel like I would not be that attached to this book if the trope wasn't there. I feel like it made me connect with the characters on a whole different planet with this trope. So if you have not read this book, again, read it. And then we have Neon Gods by Kate Robert. This book was one of my first dark romance books I've ever read. And it was so good. It's a dark retelling or reimagining about gods. Like, this is about Hades and Persephone. This book was so good, and the smut in this book, it was in public. Let me just say that. He had a fucking chamber or something, and I lived for it. Like, I don't even know how she got all of these ideas of smut to put in this book. But it was amazing. So if you haven't read a dark romance book before, or just read like the tame ones, you should definitely give this series a try. And then we have Kiss the Sky by Chris and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book in the Calloway Sisters series, the spin-off of the Addicted series. And this book did not disappoint. Like, I didn't go through the reading order, the recommended one. I read the Addicted series and then I read this book. But it's about Connor and Rose. Rose is a virgin. Connor is not a virgin. and they're in a reality TV series. When I read the Addicted series and saw that they were going to be in a reality show, I was like, why would I read this? But it kind of slaps, to be honest. Rose Calloway is so strong. She's like my role model for women. She's my favorite character in the entire Addicted to You universe. And I loved how I was about to say took it gently with her. I feel like she had a necklace that she had to wear each time they, you know. And then their sex tape leaked. You know, what a fun life to be part of. Then we have Ignite Me. I love this series, the Shatter Me series, with my entire heart. It was one of the first fantasy books I read. This is Dystopian. I don't really know if it classifies as a fantasy book. Juliet has powers, and her powers is that no one can touch her, or they, you know. And then we have the last two books, and it's Hunting and Haunting Adeline. This book was the absolutely first dark romance book I read. And I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of traumatized, but I also kind of loved it. And I'm in love with Sade. I know he's kind of creepy. He does some questionable stuff, but who doesn't do that, you know? And then, this girl, Adeline. She's the kind of character that would die first in a horror movie. Like, she looks out the window and is like, there's this man looking straight at me. He's my stalker, but I'm going to go off and have a stare-off with him. No! You run and hide or take a knife. Don't go after him or try to have a stare-off with him. That's just dumb. But I'll have to admit, it was a good story to read. That was all of the books I planned to show you guys today. I hope you found some books that you found interesting or want to read. And if you do, please, please, please give me a review, because I really want to know what you guys think of these books. Anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you have already done that, see you next time.